What is the most disturbing fact you know of? Cloudy oysters mean they're full of reproductive fluids. Ghislaine Maxwell was found guilty of selling underage children to be raped, but they won't release the list of clients guilty of paying for it. The effects that trauma have on development are chilling. Trauma completely rewires the brain and makes everything from forming attachment to problem-solving more difficult. Intervention and treatment can bring about great healing, although it is often a difficult and long road. Bacteria antibiotic resistance is on a whole other level. Even in the 13 years I've been in a medical microbiology lab, antibiotic resistant has really become rampant. It's not going to stop either. The bacteria multiply and evolve so quickly that even the most effective, bombacillins, will become obsolete. We are going to reach a breaking point where even things like a simple cut or a sinus infection could become life-threatening. Don't take antibiotics like a Z-Pak for a cold. It's most likely viral and the antibiotics are just superfluous. If you are prescribed antibiotics, finish them. Edit. Wow! I'm amazed at how much this response blew up. Thanks for the rewards, everyone. I'm glad a lab rat like myself I could spark some discussion about antibiotic stewardship. Stay safe out there, everyone. If you get the wrong blood type for a transfusion, one of the symptoms is a sense of impending doom. 30% of people reported missing, and found dead, were killed by the person reporting them missing. The velociraptor noises in the Jurassic Park World franchise are actually the sounds of tortoises mating. When whales grow too old to live anymore, they lose the energy to stay afloat, and slowly sink to the bottom of the sea. So unless a whale beached itself before dying, the majority of all whales drown at the moment of death. Let that sink in. Also, squirrels are not herbivores. They have, in fact, been known to attack and devour those adorable little chipmunks when particularly hungry. Read that, and I haven't been able to look at squirrels the same way since. You could be one brain injury away into being a completely different person. Possibly miserable. Romans around 100 BC who had been found guilty of patricide were sewn into a leather bags with one live dog, snake, monkey and chicken each, then thrown into the ocean. This was known as poena cullae, which is Latin for penalty of the sack. When the guillotine was initially introduced, people fought to be executed first cause the blade would become dull later and not cut their heads off in a clean chop. Edit. Thanks for the award. I happened to look into the idea of consciousness after being decapitated, and the longest case has been that of a chicken, for 18 months. The situation was apparently very specific, where the chicken blood clotted right as it was cut, somehow, but it survived with basic motor functions, for 18 whole months. A actual headless chicken. Edit 2. The headless chicken, Mike, was given liquid food and water with a dropper directly to his esophagus by his caretaker, occasionally removing the mucus with a syringe. Sadly enough, Mike died as he choked on his mucus as his caretakers were unable to find the syringe at a moment's notice. Edit 3. I am most definitely not decapitated, y'all. You could have an aneurysm in your brain right now waiting to explode and you'd never know. There was a time when babies were operated on without anesthetics. It was believed that their nervous system wasn't developed enough to feel pain. I'm an RN and several years ago I was doing a travel assignment and I was assigned an admission from a long-term care facility. The patient had previously had a brainstem stroke and had been believed to be in a persistent vegetative state since the stroke many months prior. When I was researching the patient I saw that all of his imaging was essentially normal, aside from the brainstem, obviously, and that his EEG studies were unremarkable and even seemed to show normal sleep-wake patterns. I mentioned this to one of the doctors that was working in the unit with me and he got kind of awkward when I asked about that. He basically said that he had seen that patient a few times and that he believed the patient had basically intact cognitive function but that the family was resistant to changing his code status and wouldn't permit any further imaging or intervention. He had a PEG tube and a suprapubic catheter. One or the other would occasionally cause the patient to become septic and that was the only real interventions that the family would allow us for us to deal with those types of situations. That patient was what is referred to as locked in. That is to say his body basically didn't work but his brain absolutely did. He was likely 100% aware of everything around him but lacked any ability to let anyone know that or express his own wishes in any meaningful way. The idea that this can be someone's fate is absolutely disturbing to me and the fact the family knew this and willfully ignored it seems cruel to me, bordering on evil. Mummies weren't that rare until the Victorian British ate so many of them. There is a whale called 52 Blue that only sings at a frequency of 52 Hz, meaning it can't communicate with other whales. It is nicknamed the loneliest whale on the planet. Only 20% of the males born in the Soviet Union in 1923 survived World War II. Prions. A deadly protein that can be formed randomly in humans or from ingesting or coming into contact with something infected with prions. Everything that prion touches just creates more prions. There's no cure. It's 100% fatal. Fucking terrifying. Missed a lot of info. I'm sure people will add to this smiley face. Someone had to say it.